The first time my own driveway told me to turn around, it had a red blinking keypad and a woman in a blazer, smiling like she'd just won a raffle for my property. Yeah, that happened. The little dome camera tilted down toward our windshield like it was taking notes, and a hired security guard stood off to the side filming us through the glass. My wife had a grocery bag in her lap, frozen peas sweating onto her jeans, and Karen Banks, HOA president, self-appointed guardian of community safety, leaned in just enough for the camera to catch her good side and said, "Turn around or comply. Either way, you're not driving through." I didn't yell. I didn't touch the gate. I just looked past her at the fresh concrete collars around the hinge posts, still pale, still damp in the heat, and I felt something colder than anger settle into my chest. This wasn't a neighbor dispute. This was a chokehold dressed up as policy. Let me back up a sec. We bought our place outside Portland because we wanted quiet, an older farmhouse on a few acres, a long gravel lane that met the county road right at the edge of a subdivision called Brookhaven Trails. Their lawns were the kind that look like they're trimmed with a ruler, mailboxes aligned like soldiers, seasonal wreaths swapped out on schedule. And their HOA? Famous. Not for barbecues or block parties, for enforcement. At closing, I made the title company say it 3 different ways. My parcel was not in their HOA. My lane was not theirs. I saved the email confirmation, the recorded plat references, the title commitment, like oxygen. Because when you live next to control, you don't rely on vibes. You rely on paper. Karen didn't care about paper unless it had her signature on it. Her first move was almost cute, a glossy welcome packet in my mailbox, like proximity equals membership. Guidelines. Standards. A note signed by HOA President Karen Banks about protecting adjacent property values. I scanned it, saved the envelope with the postmark, started a digital folder labeled Brookhaven. Evidence number 1. Then she called. Sweet voice still underneath. "You benefit from our maintained entrance," she said. "A monthly contribution is fair. We're adding access control soon anyway. It'll be easier if you're on the list." I didn't debate her. I emailed one sentence. "Please confirm in writing you intend to install a gate affecting my access." She replied within the hour. "The community will control entry for safety." Evidence number 2. Timestamped. Next came theater, an HOA violation notice accusing me of commercial activity because a delivery van dropped lumber for a shed. The paper looked official, threatening, bold fonts, and faux authority. Goal? Create a history. Mechanism? Scary paper, even if it's powerless. I answered with process. Certified letter. Short. Clinical. I am not a member. Cease contact implying jurisdiction. Preserve all records. I kept the green return receipt and photographed it next to that day's date stamp on my phone. Karen preached safety while her contractors parked half in the road and tore up the drainage shoulder. So I pulled my dash cam clips, logged dates, GPS overlays. Evidence number 4. Then one Tuesday morning, the sound changed. Metal clanging. Compressor hissing. A rotary hammer chirping like a warning. 2 contractors stood at the mouth of my lane unloading steel posts. One sprayed bright orange paint along the ditch line. And 10 yards back on the public shoulder stood Karen, blazer crisp, clipboard tucked under one arm, pointing like a foreman who never gets dirty. She didn't drill. She didn't dig. She ordered. I walked down with my phone recording. "Who hired you?" I asked. The foreman's eyes flicked to her. "Brookhaven Trails." I angled the camera so she was in frame. "Karen, are you authorizing work on my access?" "We are documenting the boundary," she said. "Stand back." One worker started drilling a sleeve hole right where my survey stakes had been. That's when I called the sheriff's non-emergency line and requested a trespass report, not mediation. Then I called 811 for utility marking, because accidents make convenient cover stories. I narrated time, plates, faces into my phone. I caught Karen pointing while the drill ran. A deputy arrived, calm, practical. Karen jumped in first. "The HOA maintains this entrance. We're improving safety." I handed him my deed copy and survey already highlighted. He didn't declare winners roadside. He documented, photographed, told the crew to pause until ownership was verified. You know what Karen's face looked like? Not worried about being wrong. Worried about losing speed. That night, instead of arguing, I built a file. Exported emails with full headers. Attached the certified receipt. The 811 ticket. The incident number. Then I emailed the contractor company's headquarters. Unauthorized work order on private access lane. Preserve all records. Their operations manager called the next morning. We were told this was an HOA access spur. Then you were lied to, I said. Send me the signed work order. The PDF arrived an hour later. Karen's signature. Install location, my physical address. Payment, HOA corporate card. And in the internal scope notes, time-stamped, one sentence that read like a confession. Install gate to restrict homeowner access until compliance is reached. That was the twist. It wasn't about safety. It wasn't about confusion. It was leverage. 2 days later, she staged a performance. The gate was up, commercial swing arms, keypad box, dome camera. Karen. 2 board members. A hired guard filming. One board member smirked. The other looked like he wanted to melt into the pavement. Known members enter under policy after verification and fee, she announced loudly. I stayed on the public shoulder, phone steady. Karen, give the recorded instrument number that grants your HOA control over my lane. She waved a glossy map printout. Social proof. Props. Confidence. That evening, my wife and I came home from a normal errand and hit the red keypad. Karen was waiting like she'd scheduled it. The guard filmed our faces. Turn around or comply, she said, smiling. I didn't negotiate. I wrote down the guard's company name. Asked who hired him. Recorded the answer. Brookhaven Trails. The next morning, my attorney filed for an emergency temporary restraining order. Interference with ingress and egress, trespass by agents, harassment. In court, Karen arrived polished, flanked by an HOA attorney and that glossy map. We installed a safety gate on community infrastructure, she said. He refuses to cooperate. My attorney didn't argue emotion. He stacked documents. Certified cease notice. Deputy incident number. Easement language. Survey. Then the contractor work order. The judge read the internal scope note. I watched Karen's smile hesitate, just a flicker. Ms. Banks, the judge said, did you authorize a gate intended to restrict his access until compliance? That's a contractor note, she said thinly. It's a contemporaneous business record tied to your signature and payment, the judge replied. It indicates intent. And just like that, reversal. He signed the TRO. Immediate. Clean. Stop interference now. Preserve communications. Any alteration triggers sanctions. Karen blinked like the room had tilted. That afternoon, a civil deputy served her. The contractor, now fully aware their paperwork was radioactive, sent a removal crew. Under supervision, Karen didn't touch tools. She stood back filming while the crew unbolted swing arms, removed the keypad box, restored the shoulder where their trench had cut. Clean isn't dramatic. Clean is measurable. But here's the part nobody expected, including me. At the follow-up hearing, one of the HOA board members, the one who looked like he wanted to disappear, testified. Quiet voice. Said he'd never seen the internal scope note. Said he'd been told the gate was standard safety infrastructure. His testimony cracked the illusion that this was unanimous community action. It wasn't Brookhaven. It was Karen. The judge ordered fee shifting. She pays my attorney's fees. Surveyor res take invoice. Contractor removal cost. The HOA must withdraw any policy notice claiming my lane and file a written correction with the county recorder. And Karen? Barred from representing the HOA in any matter touching my parcel. Future contact through counsel. A week later, my wife and I drove up our lane without stopping. No keypad. No camera tracking. No guard filming. We ate takeout on the porch. The gravel sounded like it always had. The trees didn't care about bylaws. We clinked 2 soda cans like it was champagne. A few days after the fee order, I checked the recorder site myself. The HOA's correction was there, time-stamped, filed under their name, withdrawing any claim over my access. I requested a certified copy anyway. Screenshots are nice. Certified paper ends arguments faster. One board member caught me near the mailbox later. I didn't know she was doing that, he said. I nodded once. Now you do. Here's what I've learned. You don't beat control with chaos. You beat it with receipts. You don't out-yell someone who thrives on volume. You out-document them. You let the process make them expensive. Karen didn't stop because she felt wrong. She stopped because the system made it cost her. And sometimes that's what justice looks like. Not fireworks, not apologies, just the quiet click of a gate being removed and the road opening back up. So tell me, If it were you, would you have paid the fee just to keep the peace? Or would you have done the long, boring, paper-heavy fight? Drop your thoughts. Because out here, between gravel and concrete, the line between community and control gets real thin, and the only thing that keeps it honest is someone willing to push back.